Should Kamala Harris run for California governor in 2026 after polls show her leading? I'm going to give that a big no. Yeah.
She's had her chance several times.
She should run far, far away.
Yeah, I think Kamala Harris would make a great president of a university. Why put her out there? It looked like when your dad goes with the young woman to help buy a car, when dad comes along. I mean, why? She hadn't done an interview in so long. Or maybe that's the strategy. They look like a married couple. They look like every interracial couple in every commercial.
Maybe that's but they messed it up because they didn't do the optics right because she looked like she was only 2 feet tall and he was up front looking like Frosty the Snowman. So that failed. But I see what they were going for.
Let's protect Plan B. She is Plan B. Harris would be the first woman president, first black woman president, and first Asian president. But I don't vote for who will be the first. I vote for who will win. And for whatever reason, Harris has never been popular. You can count the number of delegates she won in the 2020 primaries on one hand, as long as that hand has no finger. In 3 years as vice president, she's been quieter than an electric car. Sometimes life isn't fair. It's not fair that she's not popular. She's intelligent and accomplished, and in fact was put in charge of the border. And look at how... Okay, bad example.
Well, Bill Maher is back at it again, taking aim at the woke mob, and this time, his target is none other than Kamala Harris, the queen of woke herself. With his trademark smirk and razor-sharp commentary, Bill calmly yet ruthlessly tore apart Kamala's latest disastrous moment. So what exactly did Kamala say that set Maher off, and how did his scathing response leave her scrambling for cover? You won't want to miss this one. Buckle up because it's about to get brutal. Maher's take on Kamala's blunder will have you questioning everything. Trust me, this is one takedown you don't want to skip.
Donald Trump, you criticized the wall more than 50 times. You called it stupid, useless, and a medieval vanity project. Is a border wall stupid?
Well, let's talk about Donald Trump and that border wall. So remember, Donald Trump said Mexico would pay for it? Come on, they didn't. How much of that wall did he build? I think the last number I saw is about 2%.
To fix the problem, you're doing this compromise bill. It does call for $650 million that was earmarked under Trump to actually still go to build the wall.
I am not afraid of good ideas where they occurred.
So you don't think it's stupid anymore?
I think what he did and how he did it did not make much sense because he actually didn't do much of anything. We just talked about it. He didn't actually do much of anything.
But you do want to build some wall.
I want to strengthen.
The woke mob just can't stop lying. They've lied about everything from the economy to science, education, and immigration. It's their favorite pastime, so it's no surprise that Kamala Harris is at it again, spinning a tale about the border wall. Remember when she called Trump's wall stupid? Well, it turns out she wants to build one too. But here's where it gets downright hilarious. Not only is she now pushing for the very thing she once mocked, but she also had the audacity to insult Trump for suggesting it in the first place. The hypocrisy is off the charts, and it's hard not to laugh at this epic flip-flop.
A very different person on the stage 4 years ago when you debated him. You must, I mean, that's certainly true, is it not?
Anderson, the point has to be performance in terms of what a president does. A president who incites an insurrection against the Capitol. No, but I got the point that you're making about a 1.5 hour debate tonight. I'm talking about 3.5 years of performance in work that has been historic.
I mean, can you say that you are not concerned at all having watched the president's performance tonight?
It was a slow start. That's obvious to everyone. I'm not going to debate that point. I'm talking about the choice in November.
Not only does Kamala Harris lie, but she's also a master of obfuscation. She dances around questions, dodges straight answers, and buries any real response under a mountain of incoherent words. What we call word salad. Let's face it, she's banking on the fact that her friendly, left-leaning interviewers won't call her out. Even if they do catch on, they'll just edit her rambling nonsense into something semi-coherent. But here's the real shocker. CNN actually aired her gaffes uncut. Yes, CNN, The network that practically carries water for this administration let her embarrassing word salad run its course. When even the woke media gets tired of the woke propaganda, you know it's bad. Sometimes CNN even had to cut her interview short because it was so cringeworthy.
The crisis is real, that it is an urgent matter to which we should apply metrics that include holding ourselves to deadlines around time. We did that with the Inflation Reduction.
CNN finally reached its breaking point. After years of running cover for Kamala Harris, even they couldn't keep up the act anymore. So they did the unthinkable. They exposed her. They aired her gaffes, let her word salads speak for themselves, and showed the world what happens when an unqualified politician is propped up by media spin. America is in chaos. The economy is struggling. Crime is rising. The border is a disaster, and the people are tired. This country doesn't need empty speeches, fake smiles, or meaningless platitudes. It needs strong, decisive leadership with a clear vision, real goals, and an actual plan to restore the greatest nation on earth to its former glory. Kamala Harris is proving day after day that she is not that leader. And this is exactly what Bill Maher has been saying for years.
Tech Plan B. She is Plan B. Harris would be the first woman president, first black woman president, and first Asian president. But I don't vote for who will be the first. I vote for who will win. And for whatever reason, Harris has never been popular. You can count the number of delegates she won in the 2020 primaries on one hand, as long as that hand has no finger. In 3 years as vice president, she's been quieter than an electric car. Sometimes life isn't fair. It's not fair that she's not popular. She's intelligent and accomplished, and in fact was put in charge of the border. And look at how... Okay, bad example.
Kamala Harris has never been popular because she simply can't connect with people. No matter how many interviews she gives or stage photo ops she attends, she always comes off as forced, awkward, and completely out of touch. She delivers empty platitudes, laughs at inappropriate moments, and serves up word salad so incoherent that even her own supporters cringe. Let's be honest, her unpopularity isn't just a Republican talking point. Even Democrats aren't enthusiastic about her. Her approval ratings have been in the gutter since day one, and every attempt to rebrand her as a competent leader has flopped. Why? Because you can't fake authenticity, you can't manufacture charisma, and you definitely can't lead a country when you can't even connect with its people. The worst part? Instead of focusing on the real issues affecting everyday Americans, Harris built her entire campaign around identity politics. It was never about leadership, policies, or fixing the country's problems. It was all about checking boxes. Yes, she would have been the first black female president, but how does that put food on people's tables? How does that lower gas prices, stop crime, or secure the border? Sadly, it seems Kamala Harris doesn't have a bright future in politics.
Kamala Harris run for California governor in 2026 after polls show her leading. I'm going to give that a big no.
She's had her chance several times.
She should run far, far away.
Yeah, I think Kamala Harris would make a great president of a university.
Bill Maher doesn't mince words. When he goes in with his signature smirk and razor-sharp wit. He delivers brutal truths wrapped in sarcasm so cutting it slices right through the nonsense. This time, his target was none other than Kamala Harris. He didn't just criticize her, he eviscerated her piece by piece, tearing apart her empty rhetoric, blatant hypocrisy, and her inability to answer a simple question without spiraling into a word salad disaster. It wasn't just a takedown, it was a masterclass in exposing political fraudulence. Here's the thing. This isn't some right-wing commentator going after Kamala. This is Bill Maher, a liberal who's been in the game for decades, and even he couldn't stomach the absurdity anymore. That's how bad it's gotten. And the best part, he did it calmly. No shouting, no theatrics, just cold, hard logic, delivered with the kind of smirk that says, "Come on, Kamala, even you don't believe this nonsense." When even Maher is calling her out, you know she's in serious trouble. At the end of the day, there's only so much gaslighting the American people can take before reality slaps them in the face. And Maher just did the slapping for them. Unfortunately, CNN isn't the only media noticing Harris' incoherent ramblings. Here's what CBS discovered.
That we do diplomatically with the leadership of Israel is an ongoing pursuit around making clear our principles. Well, let's start with this. On this subject, the aid that we have given Israel allowed Israel to defend itself against 200 ballistic missiles that were just meant to attack the Israelis and the people of Israel. And I think that is the most recent example of why what we do to assist in their defense around military aid is important. And when we think about the threat that Hamas, Hezbollah presents, Iran, I think that it is without any question our imperative to do what we can to allow Israel to defend itself against those kinds of attacks.
Can you imagine Kamala Harris as President of the United States? Seriously, picture it. Imagine her standing before the United Nations, delivering one of her signature word salad speeches, rambling in circles while world leaders sit there, struggling to make sense of what they just heard. Now, picture her in a high-stakes bilateral meeting, trying to negotiate with China, Russia, or Iran, only to awkwardly cackle when pressed on a tough question. The embarrassment wouldn't just be national, it would be global. Our allies would cringe and our adversaries would smirk. America's reputation as a world leader would take a nosedive. If she can't even handle a softball interview without tripping over her own words, how on earth is she supposed to manage the nuclear codes? Leadership requires strength, vision, and the ability to communicate effectively. Kamala Harris has none of these. A Harris presidency wouldn't just be a disaster. It would be an international joke. Unfortunately, we would be the punchline, and the consequences of her lack of leadership would be felt far beyond our borders. The world deserves better, and so does America.
Go to a more typical Kamala speech. This is from last week. I know you miss her vacuous word salads. I miss them.
Because then what do we have left? And the way that I see it also is that when we think about like these moments where we see things that are being taken, but also let's see it as a, nature abhors a vacuum. So where there's a vacancy, then let's fill it.
Yes, let's do that, Kamala. Let's do that right after happy hour is finished.
Apparently, Kamala Harris doesn't just specialize in word salads. She also dabbles in what could only be called happy hour speeches. Now, is there anything inherently wrong with that? Of course not. But I don't want a president who sounds like they pregame before addressing the nation. I'm not saying she was actually drunk, but let's just say it sure looked like it. The slurred words, exaggerated hand gestures, and sudden bursts of laughter at absolutely nothing. It all gave off the vibe of someone fresh out of a bottomless mimosa brunch. And hey, maybe that's the secret behind her infamous word salads. Maybe all that incoherence isn't just bad communication, but the after effects of one too many rounds of Kamala's cocktails. Okay, maybe that's a stretch, but with the woke mob, nothing seems out of bounds. If they can convince themselves that men can get pregnant and that inflation is somehow a good thing, then why not believe Kamala's speeches are just the result of a little too much Chardonnay? One thing's for sure, whether it's word salads or wine spritzers, Kamala Harris is giving us plenty of reasons to be very concerned.
Is replacing the vice president. She's very popular. It seemed to work out. Here's the problem with the Democratic Party. They're so boxed in by identity politics that you cannot conceive of a Democratic ticket that doesn't have a woman, person of color on it, and pretty soon you're going to line up behind that gay Latino, and you're going to have, a deaf Eskimo.
Bill Maher is right. The sooner the Democratic Party stops pandering with identity politics and starts addressing the real needs of Americans, the better off they'll be. People aren't struggling to pay their bills because of a lack of diversity initiatives. They're struggling because of skyrocketing inflation, failing policies, and a government more focused on virtue signaling than actual solutions. But you know what would really give their campaign a boost? Getting rid of Kamala Harris. She's become a liability. Every time she opens her mouth, she either embarrasses herself or exposes the incompetence of this administration. She was supposed to be a historic, groundbreaking vice president, but instead, she's become a punchline. Even her own party doesn't know what to do with her. If Democrats think they can quietly shuffle her aside, they're wrong. The woke mob they've created won't allow it. They're stuck. Damned if they keep her and damned if they don't. One thing's clear. If Kamala Harris is the future of the Democratic Party, that future is looking very bleak. She's a symbol of what happens when political pandering and identity politics overshadow leadership and competence. That's all for today, folks. If you enjoyed this frank commentary, hit the like button and subscribe for more videos like this. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.